Hey up, it's Steve from that old Yorkshire Geek. I know I said 2 o'clock. I know I set it for 2 o'clock, but what the heck, I'm early. I'm too excited. We've had Star Trek Picard Season 3 finale, which were amazing. So now I'm all full of beans to watch, hopefully, a live launch of SpaceX's Starship from the Starship Enterprise to the SpaceX Starship. I think Elon has said they're going to start naming them once it's all up and running and everything's safe and they're not worried about ships blowing up. So, which were a mistake, I think, that NASA made, naming their first shuttle Enterprise that actually never went into space. It was just a test bed, wasn't it? But never mind. But anyway, before we get into this, we're going to watch the NASA spaceflight coverage. As you can see in the background, I'm waiting for the SpaceX official coverage to begin. But before that, let's have an intro. Right, I'm back. I'm just looking at the NASA spaceflight feed now, and the fueling is going along now. I'll set that up. Links are in the description. Actually, the link for this isn't in the description, so I'll do it now. I shall do that now. Because this link wasn't available when I set up the stream to the day. So I will rectify that now. Just give me a moment. Live telly. Live telly. I've lost a subscriber. Again. It goes up and down. But if you do find you've been unsubscribed, please do resubscribe. Because I think YouTube sometimes does unsubscribe. There we go, that one. Does unsubscribe subscribers for some weird reason. I've no idea why. Right, save that. Right, the link is in the description now for this what I'm watching. Oh, you will be watching if I put it on. There it is. Not the best view. We've just had a better view just now. But as you can see, hang on. There you go. As you can see, got frost rings on both vehicles. We're less than an hour from launch, hopefully. That's it. I'll just go through what's going on. Well, it says what's going on there if you want to read that. But remember, the top part is the Starship, the silver part, the bottom part. That's the booster. I can't remember which one we're on now. Is it booster 9 and ship 7? I can't actually remember. I've forgotten. That's the tower. They're the chopsticks that are going to catch any boosters or ships. Not this time, but in future. That's the... just doesn't do that. That in the middle that you can just make out there. That is the ship quick release arm, and at the bottom there's one for the booster. It's where all the pipes and feeds go into the vehicle, as they call it. It's a rocket. What the heck? So there we go. So that's about it, really, for now. They've been showing some nice graphics of what's going to happen. Hopefully they'll show them again. They've been showing some nice videos of the development from Starhopper up through all the testing and the explosions and stuff like that. But what I'll do now, I'll just we'll just go over to the guys at NASA Spaceflight. Remember, it's not an official NASA website. It's just called that. I think you can, because NASA's like a public body, isn't it? So I think you can just call your YouTube channel that, I think. You'd think that they'd have a bit of a conniption fit, wouldn't you? But they haven't done. But anyway, so let's see what they've got to say. I'll mute my mic so there's no echo. Although I don't seem to get that so much with this microphone. But anyway, I'll see how we go on.
Coverage, go SpaceX, go Starship. Yes, indeed. Thank you so much, Michael Kevin. Really appreciate that. And we have a $50 super chat, too, from E. Peterson. Thank you so much. They say, assuming it's a total success, including reaching the Pacific Ocean off Kauai, what is the next event? I would say doing it again. Right, Sawyer?
Yeah, the next step would be, when can we fly again? So analyzing through all the data, seeing how everything worked, how it flew, of course checking on stage 0, the ground support equipment, seeing how they handled everything, and then making any necessary upgrades for the next flight, hopefully this year as well.
Fingers crossed. We all want to see this thing get off the pad, launch into orbit or semi-orbit or almost orbit, and then hopefully not do too much damage to the pad so that SpaceX can turn around and get the next one launched just as fast as possible. Let's see here. Mohammed is asking, I've always wondered who said the famous words, water tanks or water towers can fly. That was Tim Dodd, Everyday Astronaut. This is DOS's tracker shot here?
Yes,
Excellent.
it is.
Yeah, that audio is because back in the day when Starhopper flew, Tim and I were standing on Andy, Nomad from NSF's roof, watching it happen from Boca Chica Village, and Tim could just not contain his excitement. So his audio is in my video, and I asked him to use it in the intro, and here we are. It's I don't know, it's kind of perfect. I'm pretty happy that event happened. Look at that. I know we don't like the fog, but that's kind of an epic view, right?
It's also getting much better here. I can now confirm from the hotel we really have a decent view. Like, it's still a bit foggy, it's still a bit occupied, like we still have a bit of fog, but the view is getting better. We now see the ship clearly, we now see the booster clearly, we see Mechazilla clearly, we can see everything here. So everything seems to be trending in a good direction here.
Michael's tracker. Good stuff.
You heard him say Mechazilla. Mechazilla is what they call the launch tower. That's Mechazilla. They used to have a big crane that used to move about, that used to use to lift the rockets and boosters and starships and stuff. But they called that something, Cranezilla or something like that. I can't really remember. But the tower they sometimes call Mechazilla, just for some reason. Don't know why.
Wait, Adrian, have you ever had a margarita?
Yes.
Are you just saying that so I shut up and move on?
No, it's not a movie.
Good answer.
Good answer indeed. All right, keep your questions coming, everybody. Thank you for joining us once again. This is getting very serious. Just under 45 minutes to go. We are keeping our ears open, keeping our heads to the ground, listening for any updates from SpaceX, and hoping to hear more positive news. Definitely looking like they are going for an attempt to, oh my gosh, $500 super chat from Justin. Thank you so much, Justin. That is truly extraordinary. Thank you so much. We take all of the contributions from everybody, whether it's the merch store or otherwise. We take that and we turn it back into more content for y'all. So thank you so much, Justin. There's no words in the English language that I could say that could properly express our appreciation for that level of support. All I can say is that we will turn around, continue doing what we do, and make the best possible content for all of you. Thank you so much, Justin. That is really, truly extraordinary. I'm almost speechless. Just wow. It really is, it means a lot, because it means that we can continue to do what we do. It means that you guys like what we do, and it means that we can continue to add more fun, interesting, and cool shots to our coverage. So just, it's awesome. It's really awesome when we get this sort of support from y'all, because it really does mean a lot. And it, more than, us feeling good or appreciative, it really just means we can keep bettering our coverage, which is absolutely what we all want to do. I mean, I hope everyone here has noticed that we have absolutely pulled out all the stops on this broadcast.
All the stops?
All the stops. There are no stops.
Right, just while they're congratulating themselves, this is the official SpaceX feed. It just says waiting for SpaceX, so they're being a bit tardy, aren't they? Hour early, they're late. But we'll see what happens. They were late last time as well. But anyway, back to the guys
of Starship, because the Usually countdown sequence we get like Falcon 9 with the polling and everything starts at about 45 minutes. We are down to that, so we are getting close.
Yeah, we are getting very, very close. As a reminder, the opening of the window is 8:28 local time, and that means we are just over 41 minutes away from the start of the window. And Sawyer, how long did you say that window was?
62 minutes, so that I believe will go until 9:30 local time.
Excellent. All right, let's do some more viewer questions because we love answering your questions here. Remember, if you have any questions, just add us at Spaceflight. We will do our best to answer as many as we can. I think it's Kaleidoscope is what they're supposed to be named. They're asking, when Starship decouples, are all of its 6 Raptor engines going to be ignited or only the vacuum ones? Sure enough, they're going to ignite all 6, right, Adrian?
They are again igniting all 6. There's some very smart people that did the math about coasting phases and about how much thrust the Raptor has and did all of that smart things that I can't do. And they came out to be that the only way they reach their current burn time with their current profile is if they ignite 6 Raptor engines, which means 3 sea level engines and 3 vacuum engines. Also, the sea level engines provide thrust vector control because the vacuum engines cannot gimbal, which means they will probably use these 3 sea level engines for steering in orbit.
Good deal. We have a question from Wicked Clown. Thank you for the question there, buddy. They say, what ship and booster units are complete and could be used for the next launch test after this one? Well, we're looking at Ship 24 and Booster 7 here. Booster 8 was built but then scrapped. So the next booster in line is Booster 9. I swear I didn't mean for that to rhyme. Oh God, it's still going.
Oh, you.
Whenever anyone says "oh you," I just picture that GIF with the guy and the dog.
That's what I'm going for.
Thank you. And so that is what's going on with the booster. Booster 9 is next in line. The next ship in line. Well, okay. So this one's tricky. There is Ship 25, but we're starting to think that it's not going to fly. Sawyer, what's the deal with the next ship in line? What do we think's going on there?
That's a really good question. From what we've heard and what we've seen from all the documentation, at this rate, it seems like they're going to pass over Ship 25, and that Ship 26 would likely be the next ship in line to fly. So it'll be interesting to see what it ends up happening with that, but it seems like 26 will be next up.
Yeah, from some of that documentation that dropped from around the time that SpaceX got the FAA license, it seems like the next 2 launches after this one will be expendable and doing the same sort of profile and, quote, not configured for orbital reentry. And that would sort of mean Ship 26 because Ship 26 doesn't have flaps, doesn't have tiles, is essentially not configured to reenter. So that's what the thinking is there.
Looks to be a long vent going on there, doesn't there? Remember last time I said, if you see a vent, it'll usually be for a short time. But this one's going on for quite a while, this one, isn't it? Oh, that's not bad news.
They're asking, will it land on the landing pad or will it really to be recovered later? Well, sort of neither. The booster is going to ditch into the ocean. It's going to perform a soft landing and then be scuttled. Is that the case, Adrian? That's what's going on with the booster, right?
Yeah, the booster will try to perform apparently a soft landing in the Gulf of Mexico, and then they will try to open the valves to let it sink. And if that doesn't work, they will deploy a fast projectile. They will shoot it to make sure it sinks.
Fair enough. And while we're on the subject, with the ship, what is going to happen with the ship? Sawyer, do we have information on that? I know we do, but I'm going to ask you as if I don't know that.
Well, that's a great question. Yes, we do. The ship is going to, once it separates, attempt to perform a boost back burn, where it will reorient itself to try and bring it back near Starbase, and is expected to land about 31 kilometers off the coast from where it took off. And by
Got it.
vent, I mean
Here's
hit the water and hopefully also end up destroyed.
So, Adrian, we have a question here from Happy Cappy. They're asking, can you see the park from the roof of the Margaritaville? Is it as crowded as Monday?
Let me have a look, actually. Oh, what is super interesting is actually the beach at the very far side of the park, like to the left of us. You can see like a line of people standing at the beach. And yes, it seems to me like everything is very crowded. I even see people still going into the park. So yes, they are. It's definitely still very crowded, and I cannot say if it's more or less, but there are definitely people still going to the beach. They are still looking for good spots to view this.
We just checked on Twitter,
yeah,
and Elon Musk has said that they're still on track for launch in 37 minutes, he said. That was a few seconds ago on Twitter, so everything must be fine. That vent must be something normal. But usually when they go on for a while, it usually means they're detanking, but obviously not.
Hey,
Right, back to the guys.
we have all of our cool
Oh, I keep
roof
doing that
of the
roof.
Margaritaville Resort over here, and we're waiting to see what's going to happen in just over 30 minutes. Does it look like it's going to go?
Good deal. You don't think so? You being sarcastic?
I mean, no, does it look like literally, from all y'all have been watching, it's going to go?
Well, we just got a tweet from Elon saying that Starship is on track to launch in about 37 minutes, and that was 2 minutes ago. So it seems
Well, there
like
you go. That seems like a good plan to me. How has the stream been going so far? How does chat feel, I wonder?
Going good. Chad, how has the stream been going so far? Are you pleased with what you've been gotten? Oh God, I can't talk.
Are you pleased?
This is what happens when I stay up all night with no sleep. Are you not
entertained?
satisfied? Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, you beat me to it. And I butchered it. Okay, let's see here. Cody G's asking, any sort of possibility SpaceX put some sort of protective fairing on the tower arms? Hydraulic and electrical harnesses seem very vulnerable to engine wash. Adrian, what do you think?
Yeah, the tower in general seems to me like it's sometimes a bit exposed. I especially think
did we
about the
lose Adrian?
cables.
Oh, there we go.
Hello? Good
Sounded
evening.
just fine to me.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, it sounded to me
Okay,
like
I think,
it looks to
Adrian,
me
I
like
think we're getting a little bit of choppy comms from you there.
I believe that would be from your end, Jack. At the moment, everything else sounds
All
okay.
right, let's
Adrian, go ahead.
Okay, my bad. I'm sorry for talking over you then, Adrian.
yeah, it looks like to me that oh god. I think Jack is on a very high delay.
Let's
Yes. What were you
Okay.
saying, Adrian?
I was just saying that the cables are look a bit exposed to me on the chopsticks. That's the main thing I'm a bit worried about, and I was wondering if they would at some point protect them a bit more, because like these main cables are just dangling around there in this air which is kind of filled with salt water. So by experience of a lot of people, salt water usually doesn't do that well with anything that should last long.
I can say that from experience, having parked my car near the beach many times. The rust is real.
yeah, every time I drive through the water on the beach, I'm always like, oh God, please, please, chassis, hold strong.
Oh, can only imagine, especially with the miles you put on that to make it out to Starbase and back.
270,000 is what I just hit on this most recent trip. 270,000 miles.
Wow. Speaking of big numbers,
go for it.
I was speaking of big numbers, we're getting some amazing support from some people through super chats. If I can just acknowledge two of them really quick, and I'll pass it back to you. Russell.
While they're doing their super chats, so you can still hear me. I've been adjusting my microphone so you can see this screen a little bit better. As I said, things seem okay for now. I just don't understand this vent. This vent that was going on here. Oh, it's gone now. Taking it off. It seems to be going on a long time. Is that to cure the frozen valve that they had the other day? That should have a continuous vent? I don't know. But it doesn't seem to be detanking, does it? The Can you see there? There seems to be nice and solid lines. So the fueling is still going on. Right, let's go back to the guys.
Let's see here. How about we could do this one for Sawyer? Robert Kepler is asking, why is maximum dynamic pressure called max Q?
That's a good question. It's all related to physics terminology. Again, when it comes to dynamic pressure in the equation, I believe that is Q. Dynamic pressure Q is equal to 1/2 PV squared when it comes to fluid dynamics. So
Beach is on LTE. I've got it on point to point 2, but should we?
But yes,
Yes, we have a hot mic.
Dynamic pressure is called Q in the equations. So yeah.
Oh, good time.
It's max Q.
All right. Thank you for that, Sawyer. Let's see here. I'll do a couple more questions, then I'll jump off. Let's see. Nadine is asking, how wide do the chopsticks go on lawn, or are you see the chopsticks the width of the chop?
Well, we seem to be losing you again, Jack. But I'll take over the answer for that while we got your robotic. Yeah, the chopsticks, as you see them now, are in their open position for launch. So, yeah, expect to continue to see the chopsticks like you see them right now as we continue closer to T0. Hopefully, the only time we would see them close in again would be... if there was no launch attempt today. So let's hope that's not the case.
I'm confused. People don't want to know when we're changing network things.
Oh, I mean, we all do, but you know.
That's not an interesting bit of fact for it. Chat, back me up here. There's a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes. Oh yes, now my friend is texting me. Whatever, Peter. That there's a hot mic. Your text is very slow. Jack, I think, was out there and had some pretty unstable signals, so we're going to see if we could get Jack rerouted around. But Sawyer, how are we looking with the time here? Super chats?
Well, at this point, things are looking pretty good. We are now less than 30 minutes away from the opening of the window, which is the current targeted time for T0.
Away down from
Starbase,
Starbase, Texas. And then it'll go into ascent. About 3 minutes into its ascent, we're going to expect to see Superheavy separate from the Starship. It'll perform a flip maneuver, and then it'll execute a boost back burn, and we're going to be targeting a hard landing in the Gulf of Mexico.
And while that's happening, we hope to see Starship's 6 second stage engines ignite and watch as Starship coasts for about an hour at altitudes ranging between 150 and 250 kilometers before re-entering Earth's atmosphere and make its own hard landing in the Pacific Ocean about 250-ish kilometers offshore. Now, we are not really expecting many camera views after separation. That is to say, if we even make it that far. But we do promise that whatever views we do have, we will bring them to you live.
Yep. We have a couple of ground stations along the way. So if we are able to get good telemetry, assuming we make it that far into the ascent, then of course those will be available on the stream. And also worth mentioning today, the whole just getting the vehicle off the pad is a complex endeavor. We are going to be trying to reduce complexity by attempting those hard water landings instead of trying a normal landing like you're used to on Falcon 9.
Exactly. We are not attempting.
It's strange how this is the official SpaceX feed. There doesn't seem to be any mist to talk about. Very light mist, but wherever they are watching here, it looks very misty, doesn't it, from there, from the ground? But SpaceX's drones, obviously there's no mist to be seen up close. But we'll carry on with... I was just showing, this is the SpaceX feed. I just thought I'd show you that that graphic of what's hopefully is going to happen today. But we'll go back to the NASA spaceflight guys and see what they've got to say.
You hopefully will get great sound from those 33 Raptor engines, so that'll also be exciting to hear.
That's like a really bad consolation prize, honestly. I think we all want to see the Starship go today. We can hear it go another time, you know?
Would you rather me gift you a toaster instead as a consolation prize?
That would be even worse. So let's not give any toasters, please, Sawyer.
Deal. All right. Let's see as we are continuing along here. Here's actually an interesting question of asking who is on site right now. Das, who's with you right now at the moment on site?
Well, I've got Michael sitting right next to me. We got 2 tracking bots using Michael's software here, and then Adrian's right behind me. And we have a whole slew of people. Oh, there's my mom. Hi, Mom. My wife is here as well. I don't think that's what you were asking, but that's who's here right now.
Fantastic. And yes, hello to Das's mom there as well.
Yeah, she's here. Hey, Mom, you want to say hi to like a lot of people? No, you got to talk into the mic. Hi, a lot of people. That's my mom, y'all.
There you go. You can see the frost continuing to rise up both the booster and, as you can see right there, up the ship as well. Reminder, those are being filled with liquid methane and liquid oxygen, and those are likely expected to continue filling, according to our timeline, till about T-minus 5 minutes, because we, again, are talking about 4,600 tons worth of propellants that need to be loaded into this whole vehicle to get it up to that full fuel load, which still blows my mind occasionally. Let's see. Any other questions that we've got coming in here? Let's see. We've got a question here from Vivid Knight saying, will SpaceX dive underwater at the expected landing spot to learn what they can from the craft remains? So what's basically the plan here post splashdown for both of these vehicles? Adrian?
The plan is there's no plan. Since both of them will not probably... the plan is for them both to sink. And after that, SpaceX is basically done with this vehicle. They will look at the data, they will look at what they learned, and once they did that, they then can move to the next step, which will be probably Ship 26 and Booster 9.
There we go. And we are getting word that the header tank fueling is underway aboard Ship 24 on this vehicle. Which, here's a good question. What is the header tank used for, and why are they fueling for this flight if they're not really going to be using it, Adrian?
They will use the header tank not in this flight. It's probably more test the whole sequence situation, but the header tank in the ship would be used usually for the landing burns, which will not happen. The reason they have this in the header tank is because if you have it in the normal tank, you can imagine having a ship in a horizontal configuration and then slashing it around to a vertical configuration results in a lot of fuel going all over your tank. So you want to have it compressed in a certain space, which is the header tanks. The header tanks are exactly for the landing. Which, since the ship will not perform a landing burn this time, it's probably, a flow thing. They want to test it.
There you go, and at the same time, you also get a full balance of the vehicle in terms of mass load and weight distribution and things like that. So it's also a good test of just all of the systems on board and the fact that you've got your centers of thrust, weight, etc., all where they need to be.
So do I see that correct, that we are 23 minutes away from a potential Starship launch?
You are correct. 23 minutes approximately away from the opening of the window. And the last that we heard is what SpaceX is targeting for this is the top of this launch window. My gosh, this is exciting.
Oh, yeah.
I did see a question here. Someone was talking about the engine wiggle. We had a little bit of engine wiggle, even though they didn't actually launch last time. So why do they wiggle the engines?
They wiggle the engines to test out the thrust vector control, because these engines on the way up to space need to perform a series of little wiggles, little maneuvers to steer the rocket. So you want to make sure that the system to steer the engines works on the ground before you notice in air that's not working. So that's the reason why they test that. That's not the only thing they test. They probably test every single movable surface at some point and make sure it works.
Exactly. keeping an eye on that. And again, this one is using hydraulic thrust vector controls. In the future, they will be using electric thrust vector controls once we get to Ship 9 and beyond. Molten Lava Guy with a really good follow-up question saying, if they're not using the headers, shouldn't they just fill it with liquid nitrogen instead? And I think that comes down to kind of what we were hinting at a bit there, the fact that if that's the case, you want the exact mass balance across the vehicle. You would want the exact mass that you would have for a normal flight, so you can figure out that center of thrust, center of weight, or center of mass, excuse me, everything that way. So you get the exact measurements and an exact proof of concept for your vehicle and the test flight. All right, we are joined by another voice who will be with us here as we enter the final 20 minutes, hopefully, of this count. Ian Atkinson, are you with us again?
I am with you again, and I am super excited to, as we get closer and closer to T0 here. So yeah, I am back, and I am starting to get really, really hyped here.
This is really exciting. Again, it's a good thing we don't have heart rate monitors hooked up to us live, because it's going to start going up from now on. While I have you, here's another question while we were talking about the thrust vector control and the wiggle before flight. Does the ship also do a TVC checkout and that little wiggle test before liftoff?
So the ship does do a TVC checkout, much like the booster. We don't know exactly when that takes place, and unfortunately, we really don't have any visual of that. But yes, the ship does do a TVC checkout of its 3 inner Raptor engines, the Raptor sea levels.
There we go. So that will be something that we keep an eye out for as we progress in the timeline now into the final 20 minutes approximately of the count. A reminder for those trying to schedule your clocks, the launch is scheduled for 8:28 a.m. Central Time. That's 13:28 UTC. And that is scheduled for the top of the 62-minute window. At this point, it seems like everything is progressing towards the countdown. It seems like right now, at this very moment, the weather appears to be green and the range appears to be green as well. So as of now, everything progressing towards that liftoff in about 20 minutes.
The visibility over on our end continues to be meh, though. I'll tell you that much.
I mean, it's better than nothing. We went from nothing to meh. So that's an upgrade. I'm not sure where exactly that is on the scale, but it's better than nothing.
I mean, yeah.
We can make out the frost on the ship. Like over here from the roof of the hotel, we can see there's like the sun shining on the frost on the side of the ship. We can see the venting down low. I mean, the tower and the Starship stack sort of loom as a big sort of silhouette. But I wonder, I really do hope, like if we look up above, the skies above the launch pad are more and more blue. And I can really see Starship sort of lifting out of this ground layer of moisture up into the blue sky. And then it's going to go downrange into the sun. And I don't know if anybody will see it then. But you know something? If they're all go, I have a feeling that we would be able to see it punch out of the like low-lying fog here. Anyways. I am hoping it goes. Adrian, you hoping it goes?
I am hoping it goes. I really think I mean, it just feels like the day it should go. Like, I don't know. I hope. And also I'm entering the phase again where I start to lose my ability to form cohesive sentences. So enjoy that.
He's standing up and like moving around a lot like a chipmunk or something. I don't know, Adrian. This is a squirrel. I'm not sure, but Adrian has a lot of energy right now. Look at this shot from the south camera. Wow.
And we have an update from SpaceX. Weather looking good. Winds below limits, so good to go. Teams aren't working. Any issues?
Nice.
So right now, no issues tracked for launch.
Excellent.
That's
wow.
what we like to hear. It's one of those
That's a
things.
real thing.
By the way, Adrian, it's one of those things where there are certain times when you're at a launch, I can say this at least from my experience, where you go to a launch, it's like, I don't feel like it's going to go today, and then it ends up scrubbing for some reason. And then there are some where you're just there, and I'm like, I know it's going to go today. I have this gut feeling. Is that kind of the vibe you're getting?
I don't want to jinx it, but yeah, I have the gut feeling it goes today.
We're under 20 minutes. We're what, 17 minutes now?
Yep. And as
Coming
you just
up
heard,
on it.
as you just heard from the update there, that everything is proceeding, everything is green, including the weather at the moment. And the latest update from SpaceX is that Starship's Raptor engines are chilling down in preparation for liftoff. So, Ian, why do they have to chill the engines?
Yeah, so they chill the engines to prevent a thing called thermal shock at ignition. So, of course, these engines are using cryogenic propellants, meaning they're extremely, extremely cold, as in like negative 170 degrees Celsius. And because of that, they need to slowly start trickling in propellants to begin slowly cooling down the engines. Now, the reason they do that, like I said, is to prevent thermal shock. Now, if right at startup they suddenly just pummeled the engine with cryogenic propellants, that extreme change from, the about 30 degrees Celsius down there in Texas to, negative 170 degrees Celsius, that could crack the engine. At the very least, it would cause a lot of fatigue on it. And so to prevent that, they begin slowly chilling it down so it's not a sudden rush of chill at ignition. You could think about it like if you have a very, very, very hot, say like a hot piece of food or some hot liquid, you don't want to immediately pour that onto a cold plate or a cold mug because that could crack it from thermal shock. And it's the same thing here.
Exactly. And while we have a moment here, let's take a look at the timeline that still remains here. We are currently, as we mentioned, in that engine chill, as just confirmed by SpaceX. The next thing that we should expect will be the call out that the prop load is complete aboard the ship. And that is expected about 5 minutes before the scheduled T0, followed 2 minutes later by booster prop load being completed. There will then be a fluid interface vent down sequence 40 seconds before launch, and we are expecting the go for liftoff about 30 seconds prior to that T0, with the Raptor startup sequence beginning somewhere between 6 to 8 seconds before liftoff, or at least hopefully liftoff, if nothing else. Excitement guaranteed when we hit T0. All right, taking a look now.
This is the... oh, so you can still hear that guy. Never mind. Hang on.
Less than 15 minutes away from a potential attempt. And based on what SpaceX is saying...
Sorry about that. This is the SpaceX channel showing some of the footage of the test flights, how wrong they went. And how well they went, which one's this, SN9. They didn't have a successful launch landing till SN15, which is what they've got my T-shirt on. But there we go. I still have the NASA spaceflight audio playing. But there we go. There goes SN9, serial number 9 or ship number 9. I think it was serial number 9, I think. But they just end up calling them ship and booster to differentiate them. Here it goes, coming down. What's called the belly flop, and then it does the flip. Here it goes, and it comes down. But obviously, this one doesn't do it. Boom, bit of an explosion there, and then we go to SN15 after that. Yep, this is SN15, and this managed it. This was a successful launch and a successful landing, although it was a bit fiery, as you'll see. I think they cut away. I think they showed this last time, and they cut away before it shows the flames licking up the side of the Starship. But it was fine, they went out, but it did look a bit dramatic. Let's see if it shows it. Here it coming down now. You see some flames start to lick up. I bet they cut away just before it... yeah, see, they don't want you to see that bit. But it was successful anyway. Right, let's go back to the NASA spaceflight feed and see what the chaps are saying.
In the past, all the way back to the roadside rocket science, Texas tank watching days. Thank y'all so much for being a part of this and sharing this with us. This is just too cool. Sawyer, I'm just going to keep talking. So anyways, there are all sorts of ways that y'all can be involved with this. You can just watch the stream. You can like and subscribe the channel, whatever kids are doing these days, that sort of thing. Remember, we have our shop too, shop.nasaspaceflight.com. You can get t-shirts and mugs. I don't know how many patches we have left because they've been going like crazy today. We have the t-shirts and the new Raptor style patch t-shirts and hoodies and things. So anyways, if you're interested in helping us continue this on. This isn't our last Starship launch. This is our first Starship launch. We're going to be here with you. So check out our shop. Be here in the chat. Ask cool questions. There's Stormhound with 50 Australian dollars. Much love from Australia. Just all around the board, y'all make this possible. Thank you so much for showing up and, well, like and subscribe or whatever.
Exactly. Perfectly well said. And yes, shop.nasaspaceflight.com is a great way to show your support and get something in return as well. And that you get the awesome, as you mentioned, that patch designed by Pauline, which is phenomenal. We also have the pre-orders for our full stack plushie, which hopefully you'll be able to recreate the flight, which is currently scheduled to take off about 11.5 minutes from right now.
Sawyer, the 22-inch plushie.
Oh, yes.
Like the plushie's almost 2 feet tall.
It's insane. Yes, that's 55 centimeters or 5 to 6 bananas tall. It's unbelievable.
Anyways, let's talk about rockets. I feel like I'm on the shopping channel now.
You got it. All right. At this point, the fueling continues to load. You could see that frost on the outside of the booster. So, Ian, is that frost normal? And how is that an indicator of how we're doing in terms of fueling here?
Yes, so first off, that frost is completely normal, and that happens on really most rockets and really every rocket dealing with cryogenic propellant, so nothing out of the ordinary there. It's just plain water ice on the side. Now, that is actually a great indicator of propellant loading. Now, you can see if we're looking specifically at the booster, around the middle of the booster, you can see a small section of exposed stainless steel. Now, that is actually unfilled areas of the liquid oxygen propellant tank. And that shows that as of right now, they are not fully loaded of propellants on the booster. Now, towards the top of the booster as well, you can see a bit of a gap under the grid fins and above that upper frost line. That again shows that the methane tank is not fully loaded. Now, sitting at just over T-minus 10 minutes right now, that is not an issue that they're not fully loaded. They're going to continue loading some propellants over the coming minutes, just until the very, very last few minutes before launch. So all seems to be on track there. But yes, the frost lines, like you said, Sawyer, are a visual indicator of how much propellant is in the tanks.
Update here from SpaceX. Oh, you want to take it, Adrian?
Get it.
The update is that the booster hold-down arms have been unlatched and configured for retract at liftoff. The chip QD arm also configured for liftoff. And right now, SpaceX is also tracking no range violations. Everything looks good.
What?
Yes.
Wow.
How is that possible? How is that possible?
Yeah.
Yeah, a reminder, the range is not just weather, that's also potential wayward airplanes or boats that may go into any of the keep-out zones. So it's good to know that people are continuing to follow all of the notices. Looks like everything now continuing to go well so far. We also see a lot of that at the bottom of the rocket there from all the fuel farms. That sort of venting, and the venting is normal, right?
Normal again.
Everything is normal. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Oh, yep, all good.
Everything is normal. Everything we see right now is normal. Nothing is, based on what SpaceX is saying, nothing is out of the ordinary. Nothing is being watched. There are no items they are looking at. There's no range violation. Right now, everything is on track.
Are things clearing up a little bit for your view, Adrian?
I would still go with the DAS quoted meh.
It's tough. I mean,
You may have noticed, for some reason, my PC YouTube is quite a way behind my TV YouTube. Why is that? I don't know. Obviously, there's something in between that's, that interferes. I don't know. But it's a good, I don't know how far behind it is. But it's quite a way, but it doesn't really matter. I'm going to stick with the commentary from the guys at NASA Spaceflight, but with the visuals from SpaceX. That's what I'm doing. Okay.
Reminder, the fueling is expected to continue on until at least T-minus 5 minutes for the ship, and then T-minus 3 minutes for the booster, as the vehicle is loaded with 4,600 tons of liquid oxygen and liquid methane propellants that will fuel this vehicle. What other major milestones should we be looking out for at this point? Anything else that visually will be a good indicator of where we're at here?
The rocket to launch.
Well, what SpaceX just confirmed is they are pressurizing the ship tanks and they are closing out propellant load on the header tanks, which will finalize everything regarding prop load. After that, the vehicle is tanked. After that, they are good to go.
Yes, and we're also hearing that closing out prop load on the header tanks, which would normally be used for the flip and belly flop maneuvers for the ship if it were going to attempt to be landed or recovered. Again, that will not be used on this flight. It is just going to splash down into the Pacific Ocean near Kauai in Hawaii. So that's worth noting that neither of these are set to be reused. Booster 7 will perform a boost back burn after launch, after it finishes its main push into flight, and then splash off the coast of Boca Chica, and that ship will continue to fly and land, not necessarily in one piece, near Hawaii. Look at this gorgeous view that we're getting from above as we get into this final part of the count here. Also,
and just to point out, we are 6.5 minutes away from T0.
Yes, things are looking relatively fully fueled almost at this point. And as mentioned, the ship tanks are being pressurized. Why is that important that we pressurize the tanks to flight pressure? Ian?
Yeah, so you got to pressurize your tanks to flight pressure because the tanks are really your structure of your vehicle. To have them pressurized makes the vehicle rigid and not crumple during flight. Think of it like a soda can. When it's pressurized and it's sealed, it's strong, but when you open it and depressurize it, it becomes weak.
There you go. The next major milestone that we should be approaching at T-minus 5 minutes will be the fuel load complete in the ship. In the meantime, we are taking a look now at some of the 33 Raptor V2 engines underneath Booster 7. Reminder that there is one ring that does not gimbal or move. The rest of them will actually swivel using thrust vector control, TVC, which will help steer the vehicle on its way up to orbit.
For some definition of orbit.
Well, yes, on its way into space at least, with a projected altitude from our understanding of 250 kilometers up, although they will not complete a full orbit circle of the Earth on this flight. As mentioned, the end zone for the ship itself will be near Hawaii.
It's orbit inspired. It's orbit-esque.
Orbit inspired. I like that.
Orbit-ish.
Orbit-ish. There you go. That's a good one.
There you go. We are approaching under 5 minute mark now.
Under 5 minutes for the launch of the Starship Super Heavy system.
Side note, that's under 300 seconds. Just you're very we are basically down to a TV commercial, like TV commercial block at this point.
I know we are getting close to letting you guys go to watch and view and enjoy the launch. So, any final words ahead of liftoff here?
I just wanted to go, and that's all I say, and then I will now step aside and watch this.
Das, final thoughts?
This is going to be for real, y'all. We've been waiting for this for the longest time, and whatever happens, what did SpaceX say? Excitement guaranteed. One way or the other, something's going to happen here. I hope we get some fire. I hope we get some liftoff. And I hope this thing goes down range. So y'all have fun with it. We'll be here watching and using the cameras to help share it with everybody around the world. Thank y'all for making this possible, though.
Yes, thank you, Das. And at this point, closing out of prop load on the booster per SpaceX at this point. So prop load should be complete at this point, basically, on the booster itself. The next call should be the confirmation that they are closing out the prop load on ship 24 at the top as well, as they get fully fueled.
I am physically shaking, if that's any indication.
I'd say that's a very good indication then, as we continue.
Oh, it's unbelievable. And yeah, we're seeing some final venting from the vehicle. We start to see that wind down, excuse me, over the coming few minutes until T-minus 40 seconds when they go for the final pressurization of the vehicle.
I'm all tingly. I am.
Exactly. As everything gets ready to go for flight, we should get that official go for flight at T-minus 30 seconds. The other things that they've been testing, as you mentioned, the thrust vector control, making sure the engines can wiggle and steer the vehicle as it climbs its way up on its trajectory. We should be seeing fuel loads completing there. You can see a last little vent there at the bottom of the orbital launch mount, which means I believe that should be a good indication that booster propellant load is complete, and we do have confirmation of that from SpaceX. Booster propellant load is complete. That means at this moment, Starship is fully loaded with all of the propellants it needs for an on-time liftoff. You can still hear occasional venting from the vehicle and from the tank farm. Again, those noises are completely normal and expected, so don't be surprised. There is a lot of venting that goes on with the vehicle as well to try and even out the pressures inside of all of the tanks. So if you see little vents of some kind coming out from the booster or the ship, that is completely normal as well, again, to even out the pressures to the correct flight pressure. And once in flight, those same vents are used as thrusters to help maneuver. We are coming up now on under 2 minutes until liftoff here. It is getting real, and it is getting close.
It really is. Now, coming up in less than a minute right now, we're going to stop venting on the vehicle as they begin to seal up the tanks, get it fully ready at flight pressure, and basically just get ready for launch. It's coming up in about...
By the way, I've turned off the... I've stopped looking at the SpaceX feed on my computer because it's about 20 seconds difference between what you're seeing on there. They're more or less synchronized, the NASA space flight and the one on my TV. So I'm sticking with the NASA space flight. So I just thought I'd tell you that.
If anything were to go wrong with the vehicle, the onboard computers
I'm tingling,
detonate the flight termination system in the event of some form of anomaly. But at this point, all continuing as planned, under 1 minute. We are getting word from SpaceX there is a potential hold at T-minus 40 seconds. It is possible. We will keep an ear out if that is the case or not. We are in a short hold at this point. According to SpaceX, there will be a very short hold here at T-minus 40 seconds. Correction, they are going through. They are continuing through with the count. No hold. We are on our way to liftoff. And with that, we'll let you enjoy.
I'm all giddy. I hope it works. I hope it works. We're just watching now. We're just watching. I'm watching there. My eyes. Chameleon eyes.
And we are now being told that there is indeed a hold in the count. The flight director has called a hold, is the word on the net at the moment.
Typical.
So we are standing by. It is 8:28. It is the opening of the 62-minute window, which is what they were originally targeting. So again, they do have 62 minutes to continue to try and attempt this launch. But as of this moment, the flight director in the Launch Control Center has called a hold ahead of the original scheduled launch time of 8:28 a.m. Central Time. We are waiting for official word on the reason behind the hold and the plans of if they will continue into this window. Ian, there's a lot of things that have to go right for this to lift off.
Yes, absolutely. There's a lot of things that need to go right, and there's a lot of things that can go wrong. Of course, they seem to have found a minor issue here. They are doing a slight hold now. We don't know the exact length of the hold, but they're doing some final checkouts, making sure that everything is on track for liftoff. Again, we will update you as soon as we get a new T0, but again, we are in a minor hold right now, just ahead of liftoff.
Exactly. And as mentioned, the window continues until 9:30 a.m. local time. So that is, I believe, 14:30 UTC. So we still have about an hour for them to figure it out. And it is important to note that at this point, it is a hold, not an abort. So they have not called off the final attempt. There is still a chance they will go today. And the word that we are hearing now is that the hold is currently in place for final launch checkouts. That is the word from SpaceX, that they are completing final launch checkouts in this hold. So again, that does not tell us exactly how long this hold will be and at what point we will pick up the count. Apparently, we are being told that up to this point, they said they can hold for up to 15 minutes at this particular point right now. That is the word we are hearing from SpaceX themselves. So we have about 15 minutes for them to figure this out and perform these final launch checkouts that resulted in this hold. As soon as we hear anything additional, we will update you right away.
Sawyer, I had to jump in real quick. Can you imagine like somebody out there that's like triple, quadruple, quintuple, however many times they would check the list and then like actually pressing the button or just letting it go forward. It's not really pressing a button to launch the rocket, right? But can you imagine being that person?
Going to interrupt you really quick. We have confirmation from SpaceX that it was a booster pressurization issue that has since been resolved, and at this point they are working on final purging on ship 24.
All right.
Sorry to interrupt you there, Das, but yes, I can only imagine having to make that call. To be that guy that has to call the hold. But then again, as we've said, scrubs not ruds, or you'd rather be on the ground wishing you were in the air than in the air wishing you were on the ground.
Yeah, and it's always it's good to show their engineering process that they're willing to pause the countdown and willing to lose a few minutes here just to double check everything.
Yep, and go ahead, Doc.
Sawyer, I understand. No, I understand being safe, but at some point somebody's got to tell it to go. Like, you can only check it so much, you can only look so many times, and at some point the rocket has to fly. It may be today, we'll see, but I'm going to go back to staring at my tracking screen here.
Sounds good. Yes, we should get the clock resuming shortly. From my understanding, I believe it will resume at T-minus 40, at the T-minus 40-second mark. Waiting on official confirmation from that. But again, it appears that any issue they just had in the countdown has been resolved. Ship undergoing its final purge, with the count set to resume shortly here. As you mentioned, this is a good way to test their engineering features, and an important reminder, this is a test flight. So there is a potential for things to go wrong. There are the potential for these holds. So it is important to note that this is a test.
Launch the booger.
So, Ian, there's a lot of things that could come up that we might not expect, hence the unique name for T0, right?
Exactly, yeah. The SpaceX is saying excitement guaranteed for T0. We don't know what'll happen once those Raptors ignite. They especially don't know what happened, what's going to leave the pad. And we are now out of the hold now.
Flight directors, go for launch. We are counting down. So at this point, we should be, I believe, approximately 30 seconds away, or 10 seconds.
It's going! It's going! It's going! It's going! Take off! Go! Launch! That's doing it! It's going! It's lifted off! It's left the pad! Going there! That's a space flight before official spacing! It's going, it's flying, it's in the air! There it goes, look! Look at it going! It's majestic! It's amazing! Go on, keep going, keep flying! It's still going! Oh, this is awesome! Look at that! Look at that! Listen to that noise of those engines! 31 Raptor engines going all at once. Go on, keep going. Getting max Q soon. Very shortly. Maximum aerodynamic pressure. They'll throttle back a little bit, but it doesn't last long. Go on, keep going. Keep going. Look at all them engines lit up. Look at that.
Wow, the sound from that, unbelievable.
Look at that.
We are getting confirmation on that liftoff. As of this very moment,
look at that.
5 Raptor engines have flamed out. So they are currently running on...
Not all going, look, but it's still going.
28
it's still going.
engines as we pass through max Q, maximum aerodynamic pressure on the vehicle.
Gorgeous shots there. The vehicle going supersonic through max Q right there. Beautiful shot cone.
Exactly. Again, this was one of the biggest potential stress points on the vehicle. And so far proceeding. Again, at this point, it is running on 28 of its 33 main Raptor engines. Vehicle continuing up. 6
Still
engines have
accelerating.
currently been out on this flight so far. The next major event would be... sorry, correction, 5. The next major event will hopefully be the separation of the first and second stages, the ship and the booster, and a potential boost back burn on that
something going wrong
stage.
there. Is something going wrong there? It looks to be to me. Is it?
The vehicle appears
Heavy
to be
pitch
turning.
over.
They're going to blow this up. That's
There
not
we
right,
go.
is it?
There's another view.
What's happening? What's happening?
As of this point, it is continuing on the flight. Although it definitely appears that engines are out. The last confirmation was at least 5 Raptor engines are out.
We can see the vehicle is
it
seeming
out
to
of control?
rotate.
Is it supposed to do that? I don't think
Yeah,
so.
there appears to be a spin as the Raptor engines appear to continue to be firing.
Are they going to use the flight termination
But yeah, this is
system?
indeed a noticeable spin that can be seen from our tracking camera here. At this point, we are continuing just to report off of the data that we have at the moment. No other speculations at this point, other than we have the confirmation at least 5 of the Raptor V2s went out on Booster 7. And our cameras are showing
They're
this
still
spin
saying it.
of Booster
Everything's
7 and
okay
Ship
on
24.
the SpaceX feed. It's obviously not. Surely. It's only at 37 kilometers.
And a reminder, this is a test flight. So there is always the chance that something can go wrong.
Yep.
And that appears like the automated flight termination system has been activated.
So they're blowing the bugger up.
Vehicle's broken up there, ending today's test flight, but
it left
still
the tower.
a great load of data
It
for
left
teams
the
to go
tower.
through, without a doubt.
Exactly. And again, that explosion that you saw is the flight termination system. We have confirmation that was the flight termination system that was ignited, destroying Ship
So it didn't
24
make it
and
to
Booster
orbit.
7 mid-flight.
Got to 37 kilometers according to the data on there.
So at this point, we have our tracking cameras continuing to see what we can remaining of the vehicles. There is a look, though, at the team inside SpaceX headquarters in Hawthorne, which, again, a reminder, this is a test. So the fact that it
Semi-successful,
cleared
it
the
left the
tower and
tower.
Stage 0 is still standing,
got
the
up to
ground
37
support equipment,
kilometers.
I think is a huge success. You can see Elon there in the front of those screens. It looks like at the Launch Control Center. So it cleared the tower, and the launch pad is intact.
Excellent.
So that is huge, and it made it pretty far into flight. I think those are still significant milestones. Look at that view. We have the fuel farm, the orbital launch mount, and the launch tower intact in one piece. That right there
Probably
is
a little bit scorched.
huge. So even though we may have lost the vehicle, we have proof there that the ground support equipment can be saved, has been saved, and as a result will hopefully mean quicker turnarounds once they figure out what happened with this vehicle.
Exactly. We could see a bit of damage there on the cladding on the tower. Again, does not look unrepairable by any means. So yeah, great outcome here. A lot of great data for teams to go through. And again, that was their primary purpose of the flight today, was just to gather some data. How does this vehicle perform? And undoubtedly, they have a lot of work to do over the next few weeks and months.
Let's send it over to the teams that are down at Starbase right now for reaction. I believe we have Adrian and Das on comms right now. What do you think of Das?
Like forcibly on comms, that was the most Kerbal launch I have ever seen. The sound was insanity over here. I mean, we're 6 miles away, and I felt like it was getting hotter. I don't know if it was just the sound was shaking me so much or the sun came up from behind a cloud, but as the rocket was going up, I felt like it got hotter over here. I think it might just be like sort of psychosomatic deal, but good grief. Adrian, are you still here?
Some sort, yeah.
We don't have your
That
mic
was
plugged in there, Adrian.
amazing.
Oh, man.
Wait, I'm not?
Having a hard time hearing you, although we did hear the part that says, this is amazing. I am excited to hear your thoughts again, because this was your first ever launch, and it just so happened to be of the most powerful rocket on the planet.
Yeah, I think I grabbed the wrong headset while I was a bit too excited.
We got you now.
Yeah, that was amazing. I still have to see like I think 500 replays before I understand what I just saw, but that was beautiful. Like the smoke cloud from I'm lost for words.
We still have the smoke cloud up, like the huge cloud that's over Starbase. You can see it over the production site. I think that is all from the liftoff. I've never seen such a huge, persistent plume before in my life. You know what we need to do? We need to check in with Jack. I don't know if Jack is going to have comms right now. Jack,
I'm here.
Are
Can
you
you hear
here?
me?
Yes, we can
Can
hear
you
you.
hear me? Oh my God. That was the craziest thing I've ever experienced in my entire life. Like everything was shaking. The earth was shaking. My cameras were shaking. If you took my feed at any point during that and it was just jello, I sincerely apologize. But that was beyond just. I have no words. Like we saw ignition. We saw the dust cloud. We were all expecting, and at that point, my eyes were just on the top of the vehicle, just watching and waiting and hoping to see it start to move off the pad. And sure enough, you start to see it. I can't even talk. I'm sorry. You can see it climb off the pad, and it did kind of I don't even know, a tower avoidance maneuver. I don't even know what you. Yeah.
I also saw. I think. Yeah. Jack, I also think I saw multiple raptors flaming out because you could see while it climbing, like it suddenly just started to emitting like a red flame, and I think there was just raptors flaming out. I don't know. This was like yeah. Sorry.
Okay, so I have to confess, from my perspective, it was mostly an auditory experience. It climbed into clouds almost immediately. But here's the thing. It was amazing. I mean, I'm looking at a photo. I'm editing a photo right now, and it's utterly insane. I'm so beyond happy with how that went. But when I mentioned that it was an auditory mostly experience, I say that because, you know, I wasn't able to watch the stream. I wasn't able to see anything that was going on beyond what was in front of my own face. And so you guys are going to have to kind of recap me at some point when we're done freaking out about how amazing that was. You're going to have to recap me in terms of what happened. Like, they activated the FTS, right? That's sort of all I gathered is
after
we got
a
confirmation. Yeah, like that. Did I see that correctly? It started to tumble, like completely. And I was like, where's the FTS?
I feel like I need to watch the footage again. Because it felt like it was like spiraling or corkscrewing, and it turned backwards at some point. At some point, I really thought that that it was falling sideways, and it sort of had these streamers coming off the side of it as if it was like a strong wind during a cryo test or something. I mean, I don't even know what I saw, and I was watching through the long cameras here, and I kept looking up to see if it
As you can hear, they're all very
the
excited
sound.
at NASA Spaceflight. The SpaceX official feed has ended. I don't know how long they'll take to do another test flight. I imagine it'll be a few weeks at least, months maybe, probably. It'll be interesting to see if there's any footage from the air. They had an aeroplane in the air, didn't they, and a helicopter, so I wonder if there'll be any footage from the air to see where the splashdown happened. Will we get any debris recovery? I don't know. Probably not. They'll have got all their information from telemetry and stuff. They'll know what's happened. As you say, 5 engines flamed out. It was still enough to keep it going. Then there obviously some attitude control problem, wasn't there? Whether maybe a gimbaled engine maybe locked and it would send the rocket into a spin. I don't know. I'm just guessing. I'm not a rocket engineer. But they activated the flight termination system, which essentially blew it up, didn't it?
Nice. And
So there'll be debris raining down into the Gulf of Mexico. Hopefully there's no ships in the way. There was warnings out, obviously, to keep out of that region. So there we go. So I'll leave it there. They're all still excited. But it was amazing. It was amazing. The launch was amazing. It left the tower. But this is like a semi-successful test, isn't it? I suppose you'd call it. So I'm going to leave it there, and I'm going to sign off. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to sign off for now, and I'll be back when they do another one, and hopefully it'll be a successful one next time. When that will be, I don't know. I'll keep you posted. Watch this space, and I will be back. By the way, don't forget, like and subscribe, share the videos, drop a comment. I've done all this before. Hit the notification bell if you're subscribed already. My videos are also on Rumble and Spotify and Amazon Music Podcasts and Google Podcasts. And you can find me on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. It's all exciting stuff. I'm still giddy about this launch and Star Trek Picard. Done my review of Star Trek Picard finale. Watch it on YouTube and Rumble and the other places. What else? Tomorrow night is my Friday night appointment with Thea. As you may have noticed, there we go. It's going to be Halloween 3. I know it's not Halloween. Doesn't matter. Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, which I think gets an unfair rap. But join me for that at 9 p.m. British summertime for that tomorrow night, 21st of April. Right, so we'll leave it there. So, thanks for watching, wherever you are. Look after each other. And until next time, I'll see thee.